I had the privilege of being an international worker in Burkina Faso, West Africa. And later on, after some years, I had made a trip to a southern part of the country where we were trying to figure out whether it was a place where we could go in and share the gospel. We got in there, we recognized that there was very little work done, and there were literally tens of thousands of people who had never heard. And one of the most shocking things was I asked this man, do you know who Jesus Christ is? And his response was, is he a Frenchman? It just blew my mind that 2010 and people still did not know who Jesus Christ was. Just after that, we went in the car and went to leave, and we saw a little old man running down the hill, and I ran out and shook his hand, and he looked at me and explained that he was village chief, and I was planning on leaving, and I said, you have to understand, we're way out here, we have to get back to the pavement before the sun goes down. He goes, I understand. And he took his other hand up and he began to shake, and he looked me in the eye, and with tears in his eyes he said, but you're coming back, right? And I didn't answer him because we had no intention of going back. It was a long trip. We had no possibilities. We didn't have the personnel. And he said again, you're gonna come back, right? And I didn't answer because I didn't want to say no. And I began to count it, and he asked me 7 times, you're gonna come back, right? And I never answered. I got back in my car and drove away, and the image of that man stuck with me every night. And I began to pray that God would do something, and I was able to stand before the Life Conference with several thousand youth, and I told the story, and I asked them to pray, and they prayed. Today, there are over 30 churches in that area, and every single village has been reached. And so we did go back, and we were able to share the story. But it started me on a journey to wonder how many other people out there don't know who Jesus Christ is, and there's so much darkness, and we need to go beyond where we are now. One day I got a phone call from my director, and he said, listen, Toccoa Falls College asked us to come down and check out this place called Clarkston. And he said, Pete, I went in here, and you definitely need to come on down. You need to come check it out. And so my wife Alice and I made an appointment. We flew down there, and we found a square mile with over 90 unreached people groups, with 14,000 refugees from all these countries of the world. And we were so broken by the lostness, and it was almost as though God said, you're right, these people's groups are hard to reach. I'll just bring them back to you. June 15, 2017, we were able to establish an Envision site to reach those unreached people and to help the refugees in Clarkston, Georgia. And that was the beginning of Envision Atlanta.